There comes a moment in every life when the soul grows tired of repeating the same story, when the heart whispers that there must be a higher law than struggle, and when the mind begins to sense that poverty is not a destiny but a habit of thought. If you have ever felt that money slips away no matter how hard you work, that opportunities appear and vanish like mist, or that abundance seems reserved for others but never for you, then this message has found you by divine appointment. For life is not governed by chance, but by consciousness, and the world you see is but a mirror reflecting the convictions you carry unseen within. Long ago, it was taught that man does not attract what he wants, but what he is, and thus the silent identity you hold about yourself decides the measure of wealth you allow to enter your experience. Many have prayed for riches while secretly affirming lack, spoken of success while inwardly expecting disappointment, and wondered why the harvest never came. The reason is simple yet profound. You cannot build a palace upon the foundation of a poor mindset, for the subconscious obeys orders without question and executes faithfully the patterns impressed upon it. When the inner man wears the garments of poverty, the outer world dutifully supplies scenes to match that costume. Understand this truth deeply. Money is not withheld by fate, economy, or circumstance, but by belief. Wealth flows where it is welcomed, and it avoids the consciousness that fears, condemns, or mistrusts it. Many were taught, often unknowingly, that money is scarce, that wealth corrupts, or that struggle is noble, and these seeds, once planted, grew into invisible walls that no effort alone could break. The law of mind is exact and impersonal. It does not punish nor reward, it simply reflects. If you declare, even silently, that life is hard and money difficult to obtain, life accepts your command and rearranges itself accordingly. Yet the same law that binds can liberate, for when you change your inner decree, the universe must obey. The moment you withdraw your loyalty from lack and refuse to identify with limitation, a new current is set into motion. This is why true transformation begins not with savings, strategies, or schemes, but with a deliberate burial of the old financial self. To bury the poor mindset is not to deny past hardship, but to release its authority over your future. It is a spiritual act, a conscious decision to no longer speak, think, or feel as one who is restricted by fear. Words are living things, charged with creative power, and every sentence you utter is a command issued to the unseen forces shaping your path. When you repeat stories of failure, you resurrect the corpse of poverty. When you speak words of expectancy and faith, you call forth a new identity aligned with abundance. You were never meant to survive by chance, but to prosper by principle, and the law of prosperity responds instantly to the one who understands its nature. As you listen, something within you is already stirring, for the soul recognizes truth the moment it hears it, and a quiet realization begins to dawn. The chains were never outside you, and therefore the key has always been within you. As this realization takes root, a subtle resistance may rise within you, for the old self does not surrender without protest, and the poor mindset clings desperately to familiarity. It whispers that change is dangerous, that hope invites disappointment, and that expecting wealth is an invitation to loss. This is the critical hour where many retreat, mistaking fear for wisdom and caution for truth. Yet fear is only the echo of an outdated belief struggling to survive. The inner man stands at a crossroads, for one path leads back to repetition and the other into the unknown territory of abundance. It is here that suspense enters the story of your life, not as drama imposed from outside, but as a sacred pause where destiny awaits your decision. The universe watches silently, ready to confirm whichever identity you choose to claim. To understand this moment, you must grasp that consciousness is cumulative. Every thought you accept, adds weight to one side of the scale. When doubt accumulates, it tips life towards scarcity, but when faith is persistently affirmed, it outweighs years of limitation. Many abandon their transformation just before the invisible shift becomes visible, unaware that the law was already rearranging circumstances behind the scenes. The soil of the subconscious requires consistency, and the seed of wealth germinates quietly, unseen, while the mind demands proof. Here lies the great test. Will you persist without evidence, or retreat because appearances contradict your declaration? The old world of lack often grows louder just before it collapses, staging its final performance to reclaim your attention. Bills, delays, and discouraging news may surface, not as punishment, but as the last echo of an identity being dissolved. If you misinterpret these signs, you resurrect what you intended to bury. This is why vigilance of thought is sacred work. You must stand guard at the doorway of the mind, refusing entrance to any idea that contradicts your chosen truth. Wealth is not something you chase, it is something you allow by removing internal resistance. When you declare, with calm authority, that supply is abundant and always available, you align with a law older than human systems. The outer world cannot help but conform, though it may take time to rearrange its pieces. Remember, transformation is not instant gratification, but inevitable fulfillment. The moment you accept a new financial identity, you step into a different current of life, one that carries opportunities, ideas, and connections previously invisible to you. Suspense reaches its peak when silence follows your declaration, when nothing seems to move, and the mind begins to question whether anything has changed at all. This silence is not absence, it is incubation. The unseen is always active before the seen, and the law never rushes, yet it never fails. To persist during this quiet interval is to demonstrate mastery, for faith is proven not by excitement, but by steadiness. As you continue to speak words of wealth, gratitude, and expectancy, you withdraw energy from the old narrative and feed the new. Gradually, almost imperceptibly, the atmosphere around you shifts, and what once felt impossible begins to feel natural. In this way, the burial is completed, not with struggle, but with understanding, and the soul prepares itself for a revelation that will soon demand expression in form. When the revelation finally breaks through, it arrives not as a sudden miracle from the sky, but as a calm certainty settling into your being, a knowing that you are no longer the person who once struggled to receive. The wealthy identity does not beg, rush, or fear. It rests in alignment with an ever-present supply. You begin to notice that your language has softened, your expectations have lifted, and your reactions to money have changed without force. Where anxiety once lived, there is now order. Where desperation once spoke, there is now gratitude. This is the true sign of transformation, for the outer world must follow what has already been accepted within. Opportunities respond to this inner authority. People recognize it without understanding why, and ideas flow with a sense of right timing rather than strain. Wealth is no longer something you chase, but something that answers you. You realize then that the old financial corpse has truly been buried, not because circumstances suddenly became perfect, but because you no longer identify with lack. The past loses its power when you stop consulting it for permission to move forward. Each time you affirm abundance, you strengthen the new foundation upon which your life is being rebuilt. Gratitude becomes your natural language, not as a polite gesture, but as recognition of a law that is always active. You understand that money is a servant, not a master, and that it moves toward clarity and confidence as water moves toward an open channel. The law responds instantly to inner alignment, even if outer confirmation unfolds step by step. As days pass, evidence appears in ways that feel almost casual, yet profoundly precise. A chance conversation opens a door, an unexpected idea solves a long-standing problem, a resource arrives exactly when needed. These are not coincidences, but confirmations. You begin to trust the unseen process because it has proven faithful. The fear of loss dissolves, replaced by the understanding that supply is not stored in one place, but flows from an infinite source. When you speak words of wealth, you are not convincing the universe. You are reminding yourself of what has always been true. This remembrance is power. In this state, your responsibility becomes simple yet sacred. Remain loyal to your new identity. Do not revisit old stories for entertainment. Do not rehearse former failures for validation. Speak only what you wish to experience. Think only what you are willing to see reflected, and feel only what aligns with expansion. The law listens constantly, and every moment is a fresh opportunity to affirm truth. You were never meant to live in cycles of disappointment, but in progressive revelation, where each level of understanding opens the door to greater expression. Wealth is not the end goal, but the natural result of harmony between thought, word, and belief. As this message completes its work within you, know that nothing needs to be forced. The seed has been planted, the soil prepared, and the law set into motion. What you have accepted must express. Stand quietly in this assurance and allow life to reorganize itself around your new awareness. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.